Allen Iverson was a 6'0" force of nature, the smallest guy on the floor and the most fearless, crossing up and scoring on giants. But for all his greatness, deep shooting was never Iverson's weapon. So imagine that same explosive, fearless little bucket getter, but now he drains pull-up threes from the logo. That's the pitch on Arkansas guard Darius Acuff. Today, the Iverson comp, the range he adds, and the player he really is. Here's the plan. First, why Acuff draws the Iverson comparison. Then, the superpower AI never had, elite deep range. Then, his own game, the scoring and playmaking that stand on their own. Then, his swing skill, the size and defense questions. And finally, his ceiling. Everything is verified. The comp is analysis. Let's start with the Iverson of it all. This is Game is Culture. If you love prospects broken down past the comps, hit subscribe. We're chasing 1,000. It's free and it helps a ton. Now, the Iverson comparison. Why Iverson? The Iverson comparison is about size and fearlessness. Acuff is a 6'3" lead guard with a slight frame, undersized by NBA standards. But he plays with zero fear, attacking the rim, scoring in a crowd, and carrying a massive offensive load. As a freshman, he averaged 23.5 points a game, a high-volume, downhill bucket getter who simply isn't intimidated by anyone. That fearless, little man scoring punch is pure AI. And he saves his best for the biggest stage, another Iverson trait. Acuff set an SEC tournament record by averaging over 30 points a game in it, taking over win-or-go-home games against elite competition. That ability to elevate when the lights are brightest, to put a team on his back and score in bunches, is the heart of what made Iverson a legend. The killer scoring instinct is real. The logo range he adds. Here's the superpower Iverson never had. AI was a career, streaky, below-average three-point shooter. The deep ball was his weakness. Acuff is the opposite, an elite deep shooter. He drained 44% of his threes as a freshman, 10th best in the entire country and second among all freshmen. And it's not just spot-ups. He hit nearly 40% of his pull-up threes and 44% from isolation. He shoots from the logo, with range AI could only dream of. And that changes the entire calculus of the comp. The book on stopping a small, downhill guard is to go under screens and dare him to shoot. You cannot do that with Acuff. His pull-up logo range punishes you instantly. So defenses have to play him tight, which opens his blow-by game and his passing. The deep shooting doesn't replace the Iverson slashing, it supercharges it, making him a true 3-level nightmare. Beyond the comp, his own game. Now stand him on his own. Acuff put up 23.5 points and 6.5 assists a game on genuinely elite efficiency, a 60% true shooting, with an advanced metric, box plus minus, over 10, which is elite. He scores at all 3 levels and runs an offense. This isn't a chucker, it's one of the most productive, efficient lead guards in the entire country. The passing is the part that elevates him past the comp. Acuff dished 6.5 assists a game while handling a heavy playmaking load. And crucially, he did it without turning the ball over much. Iverson was a scorer first who could pass. Acuff is a genuine lead guard who creates for others as naturally as he scores. That distribution, with that scoring gravity, makes him a true offensive engine, not just a shot taker. And the efficiency ties it all together. 48% from the field, 44 from 3, around 81 from the line. That's elite. Balanced shooting across the board for a high-usage freshman guard. Scoring 23 a game is one thing. Doing it this efficiently while running a team is what separates him from every other volume scorer in the class. He's a bucket, but a smart, efficient one. So on his own terms, Acuff is an explosive, efficient, 3-level scoring lead guard who drops 23 a night, dishes 6.5 assists, drills logo threes, and protects the ball. That's a more complete offensive player than the Iverson comp implies, because Iverson was a scorer who passed, while Acuff is a scorer and a creator with elite range. The shooting and the playmaking are entirely his own. The swing skill.
Now the honest concern, and it's the same one that defined Iverson. Size. At 6'3" with a slight frame, Acuff is undersized for an NBA lead guard, and that raises real questions on defense. Can he avoid being targeted and hunted by bigger guards and wings? His finishing over NBA length around the rim is also less certain than it was in college. The size is the swing skill that decides his role. There's also a shooting footnote. His deep accuracy was streakier earlier in his career, before it exploded at Arkansas. So teams will want to confirm the 44% is real and repeatable. But here's the thing, his combination of elite range, efficiency, and playmaking gives him more ways to win than Iverson ever needed. Even if the defense lags, an efficient 60% true shooting lead guard who passes will always have value. The ceilings. So what's the dream? A fearless, explosive, 20-plus point lead guard with Iverson's downhill scoring and a deadly logo range jumper Iverson never had, who also passes like a true point guard. That's an all-star caliber offensive engine, a microwave scorer who can also run a team. Some boards already have Acuff as one of the top 3 guards in the class. If the defense holds up, that ceiling is very real. And the floor is encouraging. An efficient high-volume scoring guard who shoots 40-plus from deep, including off the dribble, and passes, is at minimum a dangerous microwave scorer off a bench. The kind that wins playoff games. That shooting and shot creation always plays. So even if the size caps his defensive value, his offense gives him a real NBA floor. The bet is that the bucket outweighs the size. So how real is Iverson with logo range? The size, the fearlessness, the explosive scoring punch all genuinely fit, and the deep shooting really is the weapon Iverson lacked. The caveat is the obvious one that followed Iverson too, defending and finishing at his size in the NBA. But as a hook for a fearless, efficient, deep shooting little scorer, it absolutely lands. The range makes him scarier than the comp. Where does he go? Acuff is a lottery talent and one of the top guards in the class, perfect for a rebuilding team that lost its lead guard and needs scoring and creation. Like Sacramento after trading De'Aaron Fox. Hand him the keys, let him cook, and surround him with size and defense to cover his frame, and you've got a backcourt cornerstone with star upside. The bucket is real. The shot making that travels. Here's why his offense should translate. Acuff doesn't just score on volume, he scores efficiently and in ways the NBA rewards. Deep pull-up threes, isolation buckets, and clean finishes, while still passing. He hit 44% from 3 on isolation looks, and nearly 40% pulling up. The hardest, most translatable shots in the sport. Self-created, efficient, 3-level scoring at 6'3" is exactly the offensive package that survives the jump to the league. So the development plan centers on the body and the defense. Acuff needs to add strength to finish through NBA length and to hold up against bigger guards, the exact challenge Iverson faced. The path is to use his quickness and active hands to be a pest on the ball and to keep that turnover rate low as a lead guard. Maximize the scoring, minimize the size tax, and he's a star. That's the whole project. And the fit is obvious. A team that needs scoring and creation in the backcourt, especially one that just lost a lead guard, hands Acuff the ball and lets him cook, surrounding him with size and defense to mask his frame. His shooting gravity and passing make everyone around him better. That instant offensive impact in a class loaded with guards is why he's a lottery lock with real star upside. So is Darius Acuff really Iverson with logo range? The fearless scoring is pure AI. The deep shooting and playmaking are even better, and only his size stands between him and stardom. So do you buy the comp, and where would you draft him? Tell me below. And if you want every top prospect broken down past the comps, subscribe and join the family.